And we're on. Woohoo! So, let's just check. Mark is still busy logging in, that's fine. Trying, that's fine. Things are being a bit slow in the area, possibly because of the fact that we're getting 2 storms all at once. And even for Wales, we've had a thorough soaking this weekend, so... I'll always remember that one of my housemates who came from it wasn't Croydon, it was somewhere Swindon, which is a very how would we describe Swindon, folks? Those of us who live here in this country.
Small.
Bland.
Yeah, it's very it's most of its industry is bars.
Oh, for God's sake. Sorry, I had cap locks on.
So that's why your password didn't work. Yes, always check the caps locks. You were shouting into the password. It didn't work. And the password manager's there going, "No, talk to me kindly." There we go, I've let you in. Anyway, when my housemate moved to Wales to live with us for a little bit, he said, "You know, I always wondered why Wales was so green. Now I'm here, I know the answer. It's because it rains all the frickin' time." So there we go. And he was not wrong.
Not to kind of rub it in, but it's nice and sunny here.
Well, it's brightened up here now, but we're still getting the gale force winds of... What are we on now? Storm Angus or something? You know it's bad when we've moved into the Scottish names of storms. It's like, whoa. Anyway.
Fergus.
Fergus, thank you.
That when you know the storms are really bad.
Yeah. The Scots are looking at the rest of us Southerners going, well, you thought you had it bad before. What the hell kind of accent was that, Matt? I apologise to all my Scottish listeners. Nothing, of course, compared to Florida's stormy seasons. Nevertheless. Any hoops, if folks are signing in and look to be in and doing so, that is cool. Everybody who wants to be connected to Sirenscape able to hear the stuff?
Can you send me the link?
For the Sirenscape stuff? Absolutely.
Yeah, it helps if I press start on Sirenscape.
I will send you the link imminently. There we go. Oh, wrong person. I had just realised I hadn't closed down my conversation with Mark. Mark gets it anyway, just in case. Here you go, Mark. Little reminder. You're already in there, but what the hell? Whew, one of those days. I call it the McDonald's donut curse.
What?
Every time that my daughter and I order McDonald's over Uber for a special occasion, I sometimes go, you know what I feel to treat myself with? I fancy a donut. Nothing fancy, just a sugar donut. Every time I have included a donut in my order from Uber from McDonald's, something goes wrong. Therefore, the McDonald's donut curse. Okay, so there we are. Something you didn't really necessarily want to know, but nevertheless. I will stop with the rumble, and I will turn off the intro theme music, and I will quickly throw us into the actual intro video, so that it gives folks a chance to load in. In the meantime, we will see you in a couple of moments. Stay tuned, folks. Welcome, welcome, folks, to the continuing adventures of the USS Combs. I'm MJ, the GM, and I will be your games master for this afternoon. And with me are most of the intrepid crew of the Combs. Because sadly, we are missing both Chris's today. We are indeed Chrisless. However, seeing as they're not here, it's up to me to promote their stuff for them. So, yes, as has rightly been pointed out, congrats to the utter Crisp himself, Chris Powell, for his Steam Autumn Sale video, which has reached the most views he's had in quite some time. Well done, Chris. Proud of you, boy. And, yeah, so check it out if you haven't already. And likewise, Chris Bell, who is has a voice acting part in a audio drama Solarity. I believe episode 12 might be out soon, and is actually, if I remember what he said, is the last episode of this current run. So be sure to, I think Monday on in general is when they come out, so be sure to check out Solarity podcast as well. No plugs from myself in regards to Humble Bundles and stuff like that, because the previous ones that we mentioned have since finished. But a shameless plug from myself, for myself. For those of you tuning in, hopefully you'll stick around for 7 PM tonight, Greenwich Mean Time, as myself and a couple of other players are taking part in Renegade Game Weekend. And we will be playing a special self-made game of Transformers RPG. So if you fancy that kind of nostalgia trip from the 80s, then come back at 7 PM and we might have something for you. In the meantime, like I noted, we've got everyone except the two Chris's. So welcome along to those who stuck with us. And so we shall jump into things with science, which of course we're a bit limited on doing, but we do have most folks in regards to projects that are being worked on. So, science. What science do we have left to do? We are still working on Tavish's attempt to create an AI program to install into her brain to help run mundane tasks, whilst, I don't know, Tavish uses the rest of her actual brain's computing power to come up with all the various harebrained schemes and wacky ideas that she had.
Yeah.
We also have turning Lieutenant Commander Flesk's bioscanner into a first aid drone. And we still have Commander Hopkins's interest in trying to take away all her human traits and leave behind just the Klingon genetic traits. So, I suppose in that regard, who wants to go first? Or shall we start in the order in which I listed them?
I was going to say, it depends on if Mark wants me to help with Flesk again.
Yes, indeed.
No, because you helped me last time, and I think we can use the players that aren't here to help our respective roles, I guess.
Yes, that would make a certain degree of sense. However, that's a good point, actually. I'm going to take us quickly to deck 1, because some time ago, an episode or two ago, we had some extra crew requests where we had Ensign Carly Kenson. Yeah, I still can't do it without a grin. And Ensign Malcolm Eversion were requested to be transferred from the archaeological dig site that they were working on to something a bit more exciting, working on the Combs, and as such they were transferred through. And they have been since used, and thus have now been elevated from the status of just regular old NPCs to full supporting characters. So, I guess Paramount Studios liked their characters so much they gave them bigger parts. As such, they have been converted to full-on supporting characters and have been given supporting character stats, so their statistics have now been increased to be regular or supporting characters, and they've also both been given focuses. So if folks want to give Ensign Kenson... No, it's no use, I can't do it. If folks want to look over Ensign Kenson and Ensign Aversion to make sure that they agree with the focuses I gave them. I mean, Kenson, we were introduced to her loving Grav Ball, so I definitely gave her a focus in that. But since she was requested by Dave, or rather Tavish, I tried to go for focuses that weren't technically already had, or were at least close to some folks that others had.
I see nothing wrong with that at all.
Cool. Maintenance and warp field dynamics will do.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean,
And-
she is an ensign, so I wouldn't expect, like, you know,
Too much.
yeah.
Yeah, because she's still finding her feet and hasn't found her specialty yet. Same goes for Ensign Aversion. I mean, Connie, technically, this guy is your subordinate, and therefore, any tasks and specialties you think your science department might need a bit of extra assistance with. So I just put in stellar phenomena, quantum mechanics, and physics. Is that okay, do you reckon? Or are there other subjects that you think you could have used from before that you might want to give him instead?
I think that's okay.
Yeah. I made them as broad as possible. I mean, stellar phenomena is almost anything you come across in space. Quantum mechanics is kind of like statistical probability, and it's one of those niche focuses that you can say you could pretty much fit into anything. And physics, again, pretty general, so... And like Dave just said, they're ensigns. They're still finding where they fit into the grand scheme of things. So those guys are now fully fledged supporting characters, and this goes back to what Mark made note of earlier. You've now got supporting characters and missing player characters who, or at least the players are missing, that can help out with science projects. So you now have even more help that you can call upon. So, if we are, instead of going for... I mean, are we still, in that case, going for Tavish's AI attempt?
Yes.
Yeah,
I can't
go
remember
for
where we were.
Okay, so last time we were looking at you'd already tried computer programming and had set up pretty much the core code that you needed, but it wasn't on its own what you needed to accomplish as far as gaining the result you wanted. So you've now started on the AI programming focus, or rather hypothesis, I should say, of investigation. So you'd only just started on that particular avenue for AI programming, so that was where you were last time. You can certainly abandon it and come back to it later if you want to go down cybernetics, which was the other subject matter you had identified as potential.
I'm gonna do the AI programming, namely because I've got a focus in it now. So.
Yes, I was about to point that out. Here it is.
I do want to get to 2 other people to help me out.
Okay.
One of them is my ensign, Kenton. I can't do it either.
Yeah, it's it. At least it's not just me. Everyone now has to suffer the giggles every time we say Ensign Kenson.
And Captain Sobek, if that's okay.
Yes. Now, I had actually been looking at Captain Sobek recently because 2 of your supporting characters, well, 2 of your characters that you'd brought in have now been made fully fledged supporting characters. As such, you have been using Captain Sobek and Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang recently, so I did treat them as supporting characters also and gave them a bit of a boost, because supporting characters can get attribute increases and stuff like that as much as player characters can, but they're treated a little differently. So, was there any particular talent that you had spied that the captain could use? I mean, he does have Teacher, where it says when you create an advantage for an ally that represents your guidance or advice, that ally may re-roll 120 on a single task they attempt. Or there's actually Supervisor just increases the number of supporting characters you can have. Veteran, well, we all know what Veteran does, and Mind Meld. So he could help by trying to create an advantage for you. I need to reload this because I just realised once again that my threat and momentum pools are not there, and because 2 of my players are not here, I have to reduce my threat pool. That hurts. Okay, so we can have the captain, and we can have the ensign, which...
Can I ask
Of course you can.
Can I ask a question? Would my miracle work while doing this?
Let's have a read of what Miracle Worker says. Whenever you use engineering on an extended task, if you achieve a breakthrough... This doesn't exactly work like extended tasks because I changed it.
Okay, that's fine.
So, ordinarily in the rules as written, using the scientific method as written in the core rulebook, it resembles extended tasks enough that it could have, but I wanted something a little bit faster, and so I count the successes rather than having you not count successes first to see if you did it, and then roll more to see how much work you actually managed. So yeah, it's a bit of a juggle. So that was a homebrew thing that I did. There was an ooh.
Yeah, that means I have exactly the same question for In the Nick of Time, which is whenever you succeed at engineering or science as part of an extended task, you score 1 additional work for every effect roll.
Yes. So these are both things, questions that will come in very handy for this episode without giving too much away. But yes, extended tasks. The way extended tasks work is similar to when you roll to hit and then you do damage. Essentially, extended tasks have almost like hit points, but it represents how much work you get done, how much work needs to be done in order to complete the task. So when you roll dice, just like when you roll for damage, you can roll effect dice, and if effects come up on the dice, certain characters with certain attributes, like Tavish, like Flesk, can say, well, I rolled an effect, which means 1 extra piece of work, or whatever Tavish's was, Miracle Worker, you achieve a 2nd breakthrough, so yeah, you can get more than 1 breakthrough. So Flesk and Tavish working together on an extended task can be very, very good. So, something to bear in mind. But this is not extended task, this is science. Plain old science. I say plain.
So, we haven't got any momentum, so we can't.
Not to start with, I'm afraid. No. But this is your downtime stuff anyway, so usually momentum wouldn't be a factor. So you've got the captain, you've got the ensign helping with AI programming, so the ensign doesn't really have any, focuses that can help, but she can just add raw talent. So
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Raw talent and probably teacher.
Teacher would mean that Sobek is going to end up using his knowledge of invention, perhaps, as his focus. in order to create an advantage for you to make, to basically clock you an additional success, I think. So, let's have Liz. Are you feeling mentally up to being the captain?
Sure.
Sure. Excellent. So, if you can be Captain Sobek and give me a reason and engineering check, please. 2 dice with a focus on invention. Let's see if the captain can create an advantage for Tavish and Kenson. 0 successes. Okay, so this is new territory for the captain, which he likes. Captain Sobek is very much into inventing new stuff, but this kind of stuff is somewhat out of his wheelhouse. He's used to designing starships and starship components, so designing AI programs to fit inside somebody's cranium, he flounders a bit. So he tries his best to give you the advice, but it's kind of generic, and it's like, thanks, Cap. And as you turn around, it's like, well, that was no bloody help at all, was it?
I just imagine Tavish just going, "It's okay, buddy. It's fine."
You know,
because they are really friendly.
They are, and you know that Vulcans put on this whole affront of not being emotionally affected by anything, but there's a certain slight droop of the shoulders. It's in the millimeters, but you know the captain enough to notice when he's disappointed that he wasn't able to. He tried, bless him, but he didn't quite manage to get on board with the whatever. So let's have Ensign Carly Kenson. Jesus, no matter how much I try, I cannot stop it. Connie, do you fancy being the ensign for me, please, and assisting Tavish with a... Let's see, this is going to be reason and engineering, I think. All of 1 dice. But with no focuses, because she's like, sure, boss, whatever you want. Because this is totally what I know how to do.
Okay.
Okay, looks like it's all on Tavish this time then. So this is going to be reason and engineering for Tavish in regards to AI programming. So you've got a focus.
2 dice or 1?
2 dice for you because you are the lead. It's your project.
Okay.
Go for it. Okay, that was better. 2 successes. Okay, so you're still trundling along. Certainly, now that you've taken time to focus more on how AI programming works, and you're getting particularly good at it, you're making some headway, but it's slow. It's a lot of adaptive programming, a lot of heuristic algorithms, that kind of stuff, which isn't easy. Take it from me, I did it in university and failed utterly. But you're making headway in slow increments, so you're maybe a third of the way there in your estimation of how much coding needs to be done. So far, nothing's going wrong, it's just too early to tell.
Fair enough.
Now we move on to Mr. Flesk.
Hello.
So, were there any folks that you wanted to bring in order to help you with your particular project?
Yeah, given its probably medical focus, or at least science focus, I was going to try and steal Dr. Sot and the ensign aversion.
In that case, that does take Dr. Sot away from helping Hopkins, but Hopkins does have Nurse Uro and, of course, the EMH to help her with her questions about genetic modification later on, which we will do momentarily. So if you want to steal Dr. Sot, Chris isn't here to object, so let's go with that. Who shall we have? I mean, the list of folks is a bit small at the moment, so since Hopkins is going to be next, let's have... I don't know... Connie, you don't have any of your own projects going at the moment, so let's have you be Dr. Sot, if that's okay?
Alright.
Cool, so Sot is going to be helping out with probably reason and medicine. And he focuses... we are looking to make this little floating gizmo able to help out in a pinch, so emergency medicine as a focus would be pretty useful in this regard from Dr. Sot. So, and I suppose from Flesk it's also going to be reason and science, so... you were looking at AI programming as well at this point for creating your little assistant. So I presume you want to continue in that vein?
Yep, let's try and get one down.
Okay, cool. So, that's 2 from Flask with 2 successes. Nice. Ooh. And if we have 1 from the Doc. The Doc, okay. he tried, he helped, but it's... he left the days of programming in medical procedures back in his academy days. Now he has assistants for that kind of thing. I mean, he's the chief medical officer now, damn it. He can delegate that kind of stuff. So, he has maybe some words of wisdom, but in Flesk's case, it was a case of, well, thanks, Doc. Now that means I have to do all the work anyway, but... Alrighty. But what does the Doc know about AI programming? Thankfully, though, Flask on his own manages to achieve enough successes to finally finish all the AI programming that needs to go into it, which of course it needs to have because it needs to be in a similar vein to the EMH, an adaptive program that can analyze medical emergencies or medical situations and extrapolate the necessary procedure that needs to happen as a result. So you've come to the end of testing, your models are all locked in, the code has been successfully created, but on its own, that's not enough. The little assistant has already got a certain amount of AI programming in, now it's got more. It had analysis and a database to draw from anyway. Now you've reinforced it, but that on its own isn't quite enough to give this thing the whole full pelt that you want it to do. So a little bit more investigation in another avenue might be necessary in order to complete the package, as it were. So that's not to say that what you've gone and done isn't highly valuable. It is. You've basically laid the groundwork. Now you need to do a bit more. So the avenues that you have remaining to you are, the ones that you identified at least, were replicator technology, medicine, and power systems as avenues of investigation. So...
I think moving to power systems next.
Okay.
Be what we're looking at.
Alright then,
let's make
so
a note of that.
Next time we can have a look down that avenue. All very interesting.
Yeah.
So now we get to Hopkins. Hopkins has been asking Dr. Sot and has been getting a number of different, not different actually, very similar bits of information coming at her, and they all speak to, Klingons have modified themselves before, genetic modification is certainly available, but is not actually legal, but there's still some things to remain to be investigated, so if Hopkins wants to bring in some help from maybe Nurse Uro or the EMH, she could certainly do so.
Oh yeah, she's definitely gonna bring both of them in.
Okay, and I'm going to
Ensign Aversion as well, because he's got pretty good science and reason.
He does, but this is more of a medical thing.
Okay.
So I would suggest more... That's a point. I didn't bring in Ensign Aversion on yours, but there we are. You completed yours anyway. So.
Didn't need to, anyway.
Yeah. It's all Flesk. So we can bring in Uro and the EMH if that's what you want. And we can have... Once again, because she is doesn't have any science projects of her own at the moment. Connie, do you want to be the EMH or Nurse Uro?
EMH.
I thought you might, but I thought I'd offer anyway. This is going to be Reason and Medicine. And Dave, if you could be Nurse Uro, Reason and Medicine as well. Both of them are doing 1 dice. And Nurse Uro has got xenobiology. That can be used as a focus. The emergency medical hologram, I suppose internal medicine as a focus would apply as well. Okay, both EMH and Nurse Uro both roll the same number. Interesting. Yeah, they're kind of holding back. They're kind of sucking the air in through their teeth with this and going, well, we've told you pretty much everything you need to be told. And so it's pretty much all on Hopkins herself, who does do a good bit of investigation into the subject and completes this project. So, in my estimation, genetic engineering was the right course to go down, and you've completed it. So Hopkins has essentially assembled all the facts, all the potential procedures, and you come to the conclusion that it is entirely possible to erase or to modify your genetic structure in order to extrapolate the human DNA, leaving the Klingon DNA behind. And the advice given is that it's basically illegal in the Federation, but it is possible. So what Hopkins is going to do with this information? Well, Liz, you tell me. Now that she's completed this avenue of investigation, what's Hopkins' next step?
Figured out a workaround to the illegal part.
The best workaround you can think of is that, well, to be blunt, there are a lot of Orions on the station who have potentially connections to folks who operate outside of Federation law and or jurisdiction. The trouble you've currently got, in no uncertain terms, is that Hopkins is, 1, a Starfleet officer, and 2, if and when you get rid of if and when you go through with this genetic modification, it's gonna be, some would say, rather obvious that you did. So in all likelihood, there's going to be repercussions. So...
Oh yeah, speaking of stuff to prevent repercussions, how much a claim would it be to have Jean-Luc Picard as a favor with?
So I'm curious. I mean, technically, if you want to go that way, then Picard being a Starfleet-based NPC, I think not an admiral, therefore at the moment is still a captain. Yeah, I'm pretty sure at the moment he's still a captain. I mean, if Mr. Powell were here, he could tell me for definite. But let me see. Hopkins definitely still has connections. You got connection with Worf at the moment as well. So you have a claim enough to get a connection with Captain Picard. But I'm interested to see why you think having a connection, a favor with Captain Picard would make you any less prosecuted by Federation law for genetic modification.
Oh, is that hopeful? It's more to, because he's friends with Worf, and it's gonna go with my plan and probably being a liaison for the Klingons on board the starship.
Hummany hum hum hoo. Yeah, so this is a bit of a pickle for you. You do have a lot of high-level folks who, you have good favor with. Let's not get this wrong. But you are still very much stuck in a bind, in that I'm just... I'm trying to lay this out in that unless you can come up with something really, really clever, the moment Raza Hopkins walks back onto Narendra Station as a full-bore Klingon, she's probably going to be called into an admiral's office where there's going to be a lawyer present.
Yeah, that's why she's trying to get as many people high-ranking as her friends.
And they're all
So
going to tell
hopefully-
you the same thing, unfortunately, at this moment. So unless Hopkins can come up with a very clever mitigating circumstance, all of the Admiral Hasta, not General Kargan, Admiral Hebert, Admiral Hasta, Admiral Stoker, Commander Worf, Captain Picard. I mean, Worf is probably going to be tickled pink. You know, another full-fledged Klingon in Starfleet, yay. But at the same time, he's probably going to go, at the same time, you're breaking Federation law.
Yeah, so
And
the
you're
thing
gonna
is,
get
it's
arrested.
like she wants Picard's help to petition, along with the 3 admirals, and General Kargan and Commander Wolf. Oh, hey, her family is Klingon. Let's have her. She wants to basically be the liaison for the USS Combs, but technically be part of the Klingon's defense force.
Ooh.
That's how to
Okay.
work around.
Okay. What I will do then is I will definitely allow the acclaim expenditure to give you favour with Captain Picard. Picard, as we all know, has been an advocate in Klingon court, no less, for Worf before. So, you know, Picard at least has some standing with the Klingons. He was also Arbiter of Succession, of course, which saw the rise of Gowron as Chancellor of the High Council of Klingons. So, Picard is looked upon somewhat favourably with Gowron. So, this is gonna be tricky. The admirals and Captain Picard will all... You can cash in your favours with them, and they will all do their level best to say, you know, this is what she wants in order to grow closer to her Klingon kin, and therefore try and solidify a better relationship between the Klingons and the Federation. Now, the advantage you've got at this present moment in time is that tensions between the Klingons and the Federation are at an all-time high. There's still the big argument over whether or not... Yeah, exactly, it's a work in progress. You've still got... So your timing is actually working in your favor, because the Klingons are still launching an attack on Cardassian space because they still believe that the civilian government could not have overthrown the military government before it without help, and they reckon the Dominion were responsible. So this is a very tense time between the Klingons and the Federation, and so you can use this to your advantage, because the Federation are certainly looking for an olive branch to say, can we maybe at least talk about this? So you can definitely use that. It's not going to be a quick decision, and it will entirely depend on what happens in the near future. But cashing in your favours with all those admirals, and also the captain of the Federation flagship, and also with the only known other Klingon in Starfleet, are all very big pluses in your favour. So, we will have to wait and see what happens, but there is... Picard will basically, and Admiral Hebert will tell you, you're going to have to be ready for the poop storm that's going to be coming your way with Federation lawyers. Because the moment anybody, even the Federation press, if they get a hold of this, there's going to be a storm of interest, both positive and negative. And you know that the whole deal with the eugenics wars is going to come up. Because if there's one thing that the humans fear more than anything else is a repeat of the eugenics wars, and that almost always has sparked a very knee-jerk reaction from the courts in the Federation. So all of your admirals will try their friends will try their best to put forward your case, but there is also going to be some negative consequences as well, because Hopkins is now going to be getting a lot of attention as soon as this story breaks. So as long as she's prepared for that, then things will go as they go.
So don't lose your shit. Got it.
So
I'm not advocating anything, and don't want to oversimplify, but what if Hopkins got into a really, really bad accident on the mission away?
What if there was an, quote, accident in the transporter, and when she reappeared on the pad, suddenly, oh, look! All your human DNA has mysteriously vanished. Oh, whoops-a-days. Yes, there are, as I've pointed out, there are always certain avenues one can take to get around it, but I am just saying, because of, as I've just noted, the knee-jerk reaction that the Federation lawyers will have, there is going to be a lot of attention coming your way. Whether by accident or design, because Hopkins has been making investigations into it, anyone interested in the story will look into this and find out that it's been happening, and may then cry foul. It's like, hang on a second. Are we led to believe that Commander Hopkins, who spent all this time investigating the possibility of taking away her human genome, suddenly has a transporter accident, or is suddenly viciously maimed to the point where the only way to save her is to get rid of all her human DNA? Are we really expected to believe that? However it works out, this may turn out to be a major issue.
I will believe that.
Hopkins, yeah, it's probably Tavish that did it, to be honest. With help. Anyways, is that satisfactory as an answer for now?
Honestly, she would wait until after to see if the admirals approve the fact that she can be a liaison between the Klingons and the Federation before any accidents happen. So technically, she's not part of the Federation.
Technically, she very much is.
Tavish wanted to do it.
Given Tavish's predilection for trying new things, I'm not sure hers is the best professional opinion and unbiased opinion you can come across right now. But there we go.
Hopkins just punches it into the medical. Hey, Tavish, push that button, would you please?
Yeah, of course.
You know,
Do you mean this massive red button which says "Do not press"? Do you want me to press it? Yeah. Okay.
The Tavish Hopkins protocol. Yes. Indeed. Yes. Go on.
Before we get on, can I spend some acclaim, please?
Of course. What would you like to spend it on?
I just want to get a favour from a higher up, not like an admiral, but probably like a equivalent to a captain rank.
Now, I hasten to note that your character notes claims you have no acclaim, which might mean that you already spent it.
I didn't spend it.
Did you not?
No, you probably, because I've got a claim which I shouldn't have.
Right, so it wasn't updated, so that was my fault. Okay, cool. So Hopkins had 3, but has spent 2, so should be left with 1. I'm looking entirely the wrong place, so that's correct at least. I then put that Stott had 3, that's in there correctly. Garrow had 4, which I did put in. Gurkow had 3, which is the score that's in character notes. Flesk had 3, which is in the character notes. The scores seem to match up. Tavish had 4, and it has 0 on it, which suggests that either I neglected to put them in because you were the last one on the list.
Wouldn't I have not had the 3 acclaim because I would have spent it automatically for the promotion?
That's a good point. That's a good point. The promotion went through, so... Point. Oh, you changed it within seconds of me clicking the edit button. That was fast. Promotion is mine. Bing! That was it.
I haven't spent it, I promise you.
Well, what would you like to spend it on?
Well, the 4 acclaim, I said equivalent ranked like a captain in R&D, Department of the Federation.
Ooh, okay. Well, we can maybe leave the name clear for the moment, but you want somebody in research and development.
Yes.
Now, is there any particular institution, or is it Federation or Starfleet R&D that you want?
Starfleet R&D.
Because there are civilian science institutions, of course, in the Federation, but like I said, civilian.
No, we'll just go for Starfleet.
Starfleet for now. Okay, cool. Nice.
How much is that going to cost me in acclaim?
That will cost you more than likely 2.
Okay. My other 2 acclaim is going to be awarded to Flesk. Enjoy.
Oh, okay.
This is for if Tavish needs. It's once the procedure goes down with the AA program in her brain. She wants you to be there to do all the engineering stuff.
To make sure it doesn't go
have
wrong.
a medical drone ready.
Yes, and your medical drone. Yes, this is why she's helping you out. But here's 2 acclaim.
Cheers.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay. Wherever will you spend it?
are there any of the no, all the sort of star crosses and that sort of badges
Awards
cost 3, don't they?
usually start at 3, yeah. But with 2, you could buy the favor of a high-ranking Starfleet officer. So if there are any folks in the upper echelons that you want to get friendly with, and I mean that in a purely platonic sense, but then he's a denobulant, so who knows?
Oh yeah. I guess one of the admirals, because that would cost 2.
Correct.
Not much point getting more favour with Admiral Stoker. I've already got 1, so you can even use that. Where's Admiral Herbert now?
Admiral Hebert is...
Hebert, sorry.
She is still on Narendra Station, still in overall operational command. It's just that Admiral Stoker is still your... she's still in charge of your mission deployment. So Admiral Hebert is definitely still in charge.
I'll go for another favour with Stoker.
Ooh, 2 favours with Stoker.
2 favour with Stoker, because I intend on getting more information out of her later.
Uh-huh.
If she's mentally cognizant of it.
Well,
You know,
this will come up in a moment, actually, so, okay.
A great segue.
Thank you for that lead-in,
Sorry.
Mark. Okay. Anything else anybody else wants to get done now before we get things officially started?
I want to spend a medium milestone
Ooh.
to decrease my daring by 1 and increase my control by 1.
Okay. No problem. So if you note down the usage in your character notes, or I can do it for you if you wish. So you've got, yes, used 1 medium, so that'll change to used 2 medium. So that's current milestones. Used is above that.
Oh.
And you have used your major one as well, so you have your current milestones after this are going to be 5 minors. Oh, actually, pardon me, 4 minors. Get it right, man. I can read. Really, it's a skill of mine. Not very well, apparently, but you know.
It's okay, I can't read it.
Okay. Diggy, diggy hole, indeed. Cool, so you can make that change, yep, and you have done, so turning some from one place into another, which you can do. Nice. Okay. So, nothing else? Excellent.
That's it from me.
Nope, not from me.
Alright then. This next episode takes place a month later after your last mission, which was the whole debacle with the Beta Niobe system. Those of you with favour with Admiral Stoker have not seen much of Stoker recently, but those of you who are able to finally pin her down in her office, as it were, do find that she seems to be spending a lot of her time with the civilian science team of Dr. Taliaferro. Those of you with favour with Dr. Taliaferro will get more than a few mutters of disapproval over the fact that Stoker seems to be visiting all the time and sticking her nose in. Dr. Taliaferro, those of you who know her, know that she's actually quite territorial. But because Admiral Stoker is an admiral, and she comes to Narendra Station with all the authority of an admiral, she is therefore able to do what she's doing, which is get involved more in what the civilian science team have been looking into in regards to the ancient alien race that you've found the remnants of quite a lot recently. The reprimand that was put in against Admiral Stoker. Give me just a second. Hello, sir.
How are you doing? I believe you have a letter for me.
Yes, indeed. Anthony? Thanking you.
Thank you very much.
No problem, sir.
Cheers.
Sorry, that was my neighbour. As it happens, we got my my neighbour's Christmas card delivered to us accidentally. So I just had to give it back to them. There we are. Cool beans. What was I saying? Right, so there's a bit of a clash going on with with Stoker and, well, maybe Tavish and Taliaferro.
Yeah, I think so.
No, mostly Stoker and Taliaferro, because Stoker is trying to get involved in what the civilian science team have been finding out, especially in regards to the scientific data that you brought back from Beta Niobe. As such, any missions coming out of Admiral Stoker for you have been few and far between, so it's kind of gone back to Admiral Hebert to start giving you missions to do. Hebert, those of you who have favour with her, has been getting very frustrated with Admiral Stoker, who has basically been ignoring Stoker's calls for, you know, what you're up to, even in a friendly way. So something's going on with Stoker at the moment. She seems, in no uncertain terms, very obsessed with investigating the data that's been coming back from your investigations so far. The reprimand that was put in for her reckless endangerment of others' lives was put through, hasn't seemed to have gone anywhere. Either that, or Stoker has kept it quiet, or has entirely ignored it. Another reason why Admiral Hebert's getting very frustrated with her, because it seems that Stoker's not even paying attention to the fact that she could be compromising her entire career by what she's doing. But those of you who are on friendly terms, at least with Stoker, find that she is willing to at least give you 5 minutes of her time, but whenever she does, she always looks at you to listen to you speak, but you can tell that she's not taking any of it in. Her mind is elsewhere. So, make of that what you will. Now then, in other news, even though this episode takes place a month previous to the last one, 10 days after the previous episode, there was a bit of news that kind of shook everybody, in that there was a diplomatic conference being held between the Federation and the Romulans, and this was bombed by the Dominion. They let off a bomb inside of the conference, and as such, numerous diplomats and staff were killed. So this has made everybody very, very nervous. As a result, security has been upped. And so the security checks that everybody has to go through on a regular basis have now increased in number and intensity. The Klingons on board Narendra Station are now basically pointing to this event and going, "See, we told you. Are you sure you don't want to join in our taking out the Dominion influence that's parked itself so very close to us in the Cardassian territory?" So at the moment, Federation security and Starfleet are starting to have the jitters. In that vein, you have now been given your mission, which is given to you by Admiral Hebert. So she pretty much rounds on Sobek and Hopkins whilst you guys are busy, just basically sat in one of the various cafes on Narendra Station, going through crew reports and basically the administrative stuff that takes a while to do. But Hebert breaks up your little conference in order to post new orders. Apparently, a Starfleet ship has wandered over the border of the Romulan Neutral Zone, and it has sent out a distress call. They need help immediately. With currently the Venture being dispatched to Deep Space Nine on basically Captain. The Venture's captain knows Captain Sisko quite well, and so Sisko has called in a favor in order to have the Venture tasked to help protect Deep Space Nine. The Thunderchild, the Akira-class vessel that also calls Narendra Station home, has been posted nearer to Earth so that it can defend the homeland, as it were. Something which the captain and first officer of the Thunderchild are all too eager to boast about to the Combs crew when they depart. Nevertheless, the Combs being the only ship left at Narendra Station, at least as far as Starfleet is concerned, because you still have the Klingon ship, the Mapui, Admiral Hebert says that you guys are the only ones who are available and are in a fast ship, so you need to be sent to the Romulan Neutral Zone as quick as possible in order to deal with the situation that's going on there, because if a Federation Starfleet ship has wandered over the border with the Romulans, this is a very serious event that could spell potential disaster, especially after what just happened with the bombing of the embassy.
And we've got evidence of Romulans crossing the neutral zone from a previous episode. So
you do. So what we're going to do is, are there any preparations you would like to make ahead of time?
Scan.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. All of the scannings.
Sorry.
That's quite alright. Okay, so Hopkins and the captain of the Combs put together a call for all staff to board, and you have to leave as soon as everybody's on board and ready to jet off. So as soon as you do, you'll pretty much leave immediately. Luckily for you guys, the Shackleton Expanse and therefore Norandra Station is very close to the Romulan Neutral Zone, not far from where the ship apparently transgressed the border. So, Captain's log. If I could just turn this down a smidgeroo. Captain's log. Where are we? Stardate 49227.6. We are en route to the Romulan Neutral Zone after receiving a subspace transmission from Admiral Moz at Starfleet headquarters relayed through Admiral Hebert. It appears that one of our ships, the USS Nightingale, has suffered a navigational error and entered the Romulan Neutral Zone. By the terms of the treaty made after years of conflict with the Romulans, this may be considered an act of war. The Romulans have already fired on the Nightingale, crippling her on the wrong side of the border, and claim the crew are now prisoners of war. As the nearest ship to this critical situation, we have been ordered to assist the Nightingale and defuse the situation whatever way we can. This is going to be difficult, as it was clear that we are not to enter the neutral zone ourselves unless it is a dire emergency. I will have to hope the Romulans are feeling charitable enough to let us beam over to the Nightingale. So, when you arrive at the Romulan Neutral Zone, the first thing you notice is that the
blackness.
Emptiness.
As I
The void of space.
as I try and find where we are. Neutral zone border. Lighting. Blackness. So as you drift over to as close to your side of the border as you can possibly get, you do notice that on the other side of the border is indeed the USS Nightingale, which is a Nova-class ship, which hopefully you can see now. Can I get a yay or a nay on that?
Yay!
Excellent. Thank you. Of most pressing notice, however, as you can more than likely see, is the proximity of a Romulan warbird. Very much on their own side of the divide. So, you said the first thing you want to do is scan, so maybe this is a good excuse to do so. Anything specific that you want to scan?
The Nightingale, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the warbird, and then everything else.
Yeah, everything around.
All
the
the
space.
scannings!
But yeah, the life forms currently on the starship. The
Okay.
Nightingale.
So,
Is it just them or Romulans? What was there?
okay, so let me move you back to deck 1. As we load deck 1 very slowly. So, usually scanning is done by Gurkow, but can be assisted, of course, by our new operations officer, at least given his new role as operations officer, and second officer, Lieutenant Commander Flesk. So, I glossed over this, and I'm sorry, Mark, but there was a very small congratulations ceremony held in Flesk's honor, but it was very much a case of Captain Sobek coming up to Lieutenant Flesk and saying, "Congratulations on making commander. This now means you have more responsibility on your shoulders, and this does mean that Flesk is now officially second officer, which means that Flesk has to take command of the night shift." So Flesk now is in the captain's seat on the night shift.
Cool.
And it also means, as Hopkins can gleefully attribute, paperwork.
Yeah, have fun.
Yeah, so essentially when, in instances like this, when you get a promotion, obviously your rank sets and you spend 3 acclaim to get your promotion, but your reputation also resets back to the default, which is 3. So, Flask, your reputation has now defaulted back to 3 because you have to start all over again in your new role. And therefore, how well you do in your new role will have to be taken into account for the fact that you now have more responsibility. But in that regard, you can still usually, as usual, assist with any sensor scans that need to happen in order to determine what state the Nightingale is in.
Yep, happy to assist.
So anybody who wants to do that is going to have to give me a control and science check with, of course, a focus on sensors, if you have any. If not, then it's just going to have to be without a focus. So who is going to be leading this particular task?
I think Gurkow should lead it. I
Okay.
can just roll the one.
Head of science. Everyone else rolls just 1. So who are you asking to assist in this? I mean, Flask, obviously, because of the whole parent figure.
Of course. I think Ensign Evasion can do the job.
Okie dokie. Can we have Elizabeth, if you could be Ensign Aversion for us, please? Also giving us control and science to scan the Nightingale. Nothing much focus-wise Aversion can add to this, I'm afraid, so it's all going to be just 1 dice with no focus.
Reason and science.
Thank you very much. So if we can get Flask and Aversion's rolls first. Oh, never mind.
Oh,
Get
sorry about
everybody's
that.
at the same time. That's fine. So we get 1 success through Aversion, 1 success through Flask, no successes through Gurkow, but everybody working together does produce results. Okay. The Nightingale is in a very, very bad way. It looks like their warp core is offline. They still have reserve power functioning, but it's not much. This ship has taken a major thrashing. Its shields are down, its power is next to non-existent, and from an initial sensor scan, it looks like there is damage throughout the majority of the ship. Getting better sensor scans of the Nightingale is going to be tricky at this distance. But that's from an initial scan that you can tell that the Nightingale is in very poor condition at this moment in time. The distress signal that you did receive, not you personally, but that Starfleet received from the Nightingale, I neglected to include in your mission briefing, so for those of you who want to reference it, the distress signal that your communications officer can play back was of a disheveled female human with commander pips standing in front of a very badly damaged bridge and surrounded by overall chaos. Stated, if I can find my voice changer. This is Commander Alison Lewis of the Federation starship Nightingale. A navigational error has caused us to enter the neutral zone and we have exchanged fire with a Romulan warbird. Captain Blake was killed in the attack and we have lost main power. Warp drive is offline and the ship systems are down, but life support is good and holding. Repairs are underway, but we have lost most of our engineering crew. The Romulans are claiming we are now prisoners of war and insist they will take us to Romulus for trial once their ship is repaired. We don't want to give in to their demands, but we also don't want to start another war. Starfleet, please advise. So, your sensor scans when you arrived would kind of lend credence to what Commander Lewis stated. So, what's going to be your first avenue of pursuit? How are you going to handle this? 'Cause this is a very delicate situation.
I have an idea.
Ooh.
What is the Romulan? It's bird of prey. Is it bird of prey? No,
It's a
not
warbird.
The warbird. Can we get a scan on the warbird?
You can certainly try.
Yeah. Oh, did we get any momentum from the previous roll?
Oh yes, of course. You've got 2. So you get 2 from that because you generate extra.
Yay!
Cool beans.
Yeah,
You can
let's
try and get a sensor
scan.
scan of the Romulan warbird if you really want to.
I think it's worth doing a scan of the warbird and then the surrounding area, see if there's just one we're dealing with.
Yeah. I mean,
And then
the message said... Oh, sorry, go ahead, please.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, let's find out what the state they're in and then try and communicate with them.
Okie dokie. So, the moment somebody tries to start a sensor scan of the warbird, there is a sudden power spike from the warbird as they raise their shields, which therefore prevents you from getting too much of a sensor scan. And just as you're about to try and process that is when you get an alert from your comm officer that the Romulans are now hailing.
I guess we should answer it.
Okay. So, patching through hailing frequencies, you get on screen is a female Romulan commander.
Hopkins would give the traditional greeting of Romulans of John True.
This is Commander Maven of the Romulan Star Empire. You will cease your sensor scans of our proprietary technology, and you will assist us in allowing us to take the Nightingale and all of her crew to Romulus to be tried as war criminals for daring to breach our sovereign borders. You are to state your intentions in coming here. We will, of course, respond aggressively to any attempts to cross into our border.
This isn't their border, this is the neutral zone. Is that right?
Unfortunately, the Nightingale has wandered over the neutral zone border into Romulan territory. So, if I take you back to...
so they've gone further.
If I take you back to the space, essentially, the border's like by here. So the Combs has kind of edged itself as close as it possibly can to as far as it can possibly go. And unfortunately, the Nightingale is very much stuck on the wrong side of things.
So they are right in saying that they've gone into Romulan territory, not just into the neutral zone, but past it. Okay. So out of iteration and also out of neutral zone. Bugger.
So, any thoughts on how you would like to handle this?
Well, we should be honest and say we received a distress call, and we're trying to ascertain what our ship was doing, and how they ended up where they are, and to get to the truth of the matter.
The truth of the matter? is that one of your ships was caught, basically, trying to spy on Romulan territory. We are very much aware of these new Nova-class ships of yours, what with their capacity for incredibly detailed sensor scans, and it does not surprise us that one of the ships sent to retrieve the Nightingale is itself a ship famous for its enhanced sensor capabilities. Your espionage tactics are all too plain, Federation. As soon as our engines are back up and online, we will be taking the Nightingale and its crew with us back to Romulus.
What happened to your engines?
Our engines were damaged during the attack by the Nightingale on our engine systems. A lucky shot.
What happened to the Nightingale?
Yeah.
What was that, sorry?
Why is the Nightingale so damaged? What happened to the Nightingale? Why is the Nightingale so damaged?
This is Tavish asking this question, or somebody else asking this question.
This is probably like Tavish communicating with Sobek.
The Nightingale was badly damaged because their ship is inferior to Romulan design and therefore was more easily broken than ours.
Is there any way, and this is not asking her that, but to the crew, do we have any way of accessing the Nightingale's log so we can see, well, who shot first? Was there any attempts at communication before the attack?
Unfortunately, the Nightingale is so badly damaged that if you wanted to know that information, you'd probably have to get on board the Nightingale and get that information for yourself.
Hop.
We need to do.
Sorry, what was that, Dave? You sounded a bit quiet.
Sorry.
Hold on to that, Liz. I'll get back to you in a second.
Is that better?
That's better, yes, thank you.
Yeah, sorry. I think that's what we need to do then.
Liz, what were you going to say?
So, Commander Hopkins is going to try to defuse the situation and be like, and ask if we can get onto the Nightingale with the commander, so we can actually talk face to face, and let her know we got a communication that says that it was a error in their navigational systems that led them across the border.
Okay.
And have the Romulans there to prove that we're not trying to tamper and make it look like try to falsify stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're suggesting allow the Romulans to board the Nightingale as well, along with yourselves?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gesture of good faith.
And I'm trying to diffuse the tension.
Okay, cool. Can I get Hopkins, with whoever wants to help, to give me an insight and command check, please?
Want a hand?
Entirely up to anybody who wants to assist.
Is this technically to try to persuade them to resort to something that's not violence, that may be peaceful?
No, this is more to see your reading of the situation.
I was trying to be able to get the extra D20 for diffuse the situation.
Well, by all means use it. Yeah, because you are, in a way, trying to read the situation in order to try and defuse the situation, so I'll allow it, that's fine. There's no problem there.
Yeah, I'm happy to assist.
Insight and command, please. 2 successes plus a slightly sparklier 1 success. 3 successes overall. 1 needed. Okay. Alright, so yes, your reading of the situation is that the Romulan commander seems to be... I mean, the Romulan commander is doing what you expect Romulan commanders to do. You know, pound their chests and basically say how great they are compared to everybody else. And you know, the situation is that you've got a Starfleet ship well over their side of the border, so you expect this from the Romulans. But considering they hold all the cards here, you get the kind of nagging sense that the Romulan commander is not as confident as she seems, or at least not as confident as the mask she's projecting. Which is odd because they've got the best position here. Nevertheless, she is willing to negotiate this and does actually accept your terms that a Romulan crew is going to be allowed to supervise everything the Combs' repair crew does. So Commander Maven suggests that you coordinate a beaming site so that both Romulan and Combs' crew can beam to the same site at the same time in order to ascertain the truth of the matter. But Commander Maven makes it very clear that she doesn't. She sneers and states that she doesn't really believe that there's going to be any proof of a mistake, that this was more than likely deliberate, and they were just that the Starfleet were just caught in the act. So she doesn't want any of your team to be seen to be trying to dispose of any evidence. So you're going to have Romulans looking over your shoulder at everything you do. That's the terms that she's going to use to allow you to beam over to the Nightingale.
Bless just sort of tried and sneaks a message to Tavish. We're going to need access to all of those sensor and combat logs to find out what happened. I'm suspecting Romulan tampering of the navigation system.
Okay, you got it, Gaffer.
So, I just quickly need to take a 2-minute break just to use the facilities, as it were. So you guys have a good old think on what kind of preparations you want to make on this, who's going, and you can apprise me of it when I get back in all of like 60 seconds or something. So give me just a few moments, I'll be back in a moment. See you in a bit.
I think we need an anti-grav sled.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Anti-grav sled.
Just to throw them off.
Yeah. What's it? Is that it? Character equipment?
I know, I'm looking at the character equipment.
Also, we need to keep the comms channels open and recording the whole time we're there.
We definitely need a pattern enhancer. Do we need a PADD? Or a plasma torch?
Plasma torch, probably yes. What's the pad?
I have no idea. I saw it.
It's a personal access display device. That's literally what it
Sure,
is.
why not? Why not?
Alrighty then. So, what have we decided?
Connie came up with this great idea. I'll let Connie tell you.
Anti-grav sled. You know, if things are falling out and we need to pick it up and...
Well, yeah, if you need help moving debris and stuff like that, or shifting people, then the anti-grav sled is definitely going to be a thing. So yeah, okay.
When we scanned the Nightingale, was their universal translator still operational?
Difficult to tell from this distance because, like I said, in order to get better scans of the Nightingale, you needed to be slightly closer.
Well, luckily she knows how to speak Romulan, so we should be fine. We don't need a universal translator.
Yeah, so you've got that going for you.
I know what we need. A wrist torch.
Oh,
Yeah.
you also might need your
Yeah.
engineering toolkit.
I know I've already got that.
Because they
I
did
mean,
say they lost most of their engineers.
Yes, they did. They have.
I've still got my mass spectrometer from the last one, and a pad. Why not?
Well, you know, you're going to need to collate data.
Plasma torch.
Hmm. Just in case you need to cut someone out of from underneath debris, stuff like that.
I don't know if they're going to be happy with all this equipment. No. All right. Can we get away with the wrist torch?
Absolutely. You know that they've lost most of their main power, so there are going to be entire sections of the ship that are going to be dark.
Hold on. I've still got the equipment from the last time.
Yeah, okay, so I will take a wrist torch and then, just in case, she's gonna grab a universal translator just to be on the safe side.
Okay. No
Even though she can speak Romulan.
Romulan. Okay, cool.
And we were saying that we're going to keep the channels open and recorded the whole time we're there.
Good idea.
Can because if we're going over, there's going to be injured people.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we get? I don't know if the doc has an emergency surgical kit.
Oh, yes, he does.
Has he got a medical monitoring device?
Yep.
At all? Okay.
And a bone regenerator, and a dermal regenerator, and a hyperspray.
All right then.
And a disruptor pistol?
Yeah,
That looks like a trophy.
yeah, that might have been. Oh yeah, Hawkins handed him a disruptor pistol.
That's right, you did, didn't you?
All right. If we. All right. This is getting the equipment out of the way first before we come up with a plan.
Yep.
Are we gonna take? Are we going over there prepared? As in body armor, personal force shields, something like that.
That's a
Maybe
question.
do we need an EVA suit?
Yes.
Well, we all know
Alright,
Flask and his predilection for EVA suits.
So are we going to take body armor and personal force fields?
How far are you going to
I
go
feel
with
like
your
body-
security consciousness? Yeah.
The body armor sort of escalates the situation already.
Could do.
Yeah.
Do you think personal?
Do you have any self-sealing stem bolts? Well, one assumes.
Do you think personal force shields then?
Well, there's no one objecting, but there's no one confirming either, so...
No.
Kind of hoping we won't need those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we don't need those, but I'd rather go there at least somewhat prepared.
Okay, what I will say is that if you... the advantage personal force fields have over wearing actual body armor is that, well, as long as you've got it off, the personal force field is just a device attached to your belt. Whereas if you go in with body armor, that's more obvious, and your intentions are therefore somewhat more readable.
I'm definitely taking the personal force field for Tavish.
Okay.
If it's not gonna... Is that gonna cause escalation though?
Well, let's have a look. I mean, character equipment, armor and protective gear, personal force field does have an escalation of 2. This is a bit of a drastic situation, but I will allow the escalation to go down to 1 because it is more concealable than body armor.
Okay, I think I'll do the same then. And leave it switched off for now.
Yeah. So I will up the overall threat to, by 1 point to represent you taking equipment for a combat equipment, but not 2 points up.
And I've still got my EVA suit. I guess that's just on.
Did he ever leave it, is the question we all need to ask.
I don't think it's been taken off the whole time.
Yeah.
Hopkins is personally, not even gonna bring her batlift or any one of her 2 pistols. She's just gonna have her little knife on her.
Just the knife, okay.
And her fists, obviously.
Well, you know, yeah, one assumes lefty and righty.
Alright. Doctor's got everything. Alright, who are we taking?
Yeah, that was going to be the next question.
We've got to take the dock. Hopkins.
Garrow, right?
Garrow, yeah, sure, makes sense because, you know, security.
You haven't got any engineers.
They don't have any engineers, so yeah, they're going to need engineers.
Can we take Neshlau as well?
I'm going for fun.
Yeah, I'm going because I want to.
I think having... Can we take an NPC with us?
Absolutely you can if you want to. They're your characters.
Actually, I wasn't thinking about taking... I wasn't thinking about taking Ensign Kenson. I wanted Ensign Kenson to stay on the ship. I was actually thinking of taking Nurse Uro.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about taking both, just in case, because like they said, they lost most of their engineers, and I don't want Tavish to have to feel like she has to get the whole engine up and running by herself.
Well, that's what Flesk's for.
And
Sorry,
Kenson.
No, it makes sense. I'd have left Ensign Kenson behind.
Yeah.
Or either the nurse or the counsellor for a bit of psychic trickery, if possible.
What does everybody else think?
I think the Chancellor as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it's going to be great for negotiations.
That's who we're sending. Okay.
If we can all fit in a normal worker bee, rather than the rather intimidating Klingon ship, that might be a better approach. Shutty the shuttle.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all gonna beam over to the bridge.
Oh yeah, we're beaming over, aren't we? That's true. Never mind.
Let's see, so that's going to be you guys and you guys and you guys. Alright. Final word, you've got everything you need and you're going to transport over in coordination with the Romulans.
What's our plan here?
Yeah.
Before we
Good question. Because you want to get to the truth of this matter, so there was talk from Flesk about trying to access their sensor logs and stuff in order to try and see what actually happened.
We also need to sort of split off with some people going for medical support, just to help those that are either wounded or need anything. And maybe air as well.
Yeah. So I'm thinking mostly we transport onto the bridge, seeing as that's where probably the navigational systems and the logs for who fired first would be. And then we can split up from there to go to the engineering room or medical base.
Well, we're going to be meeting the Romulans on the bridge, aren't we?
More than likely. Okay. Are we all set? I'll take that as a yes.
Sorry, I'm just writing up Tavish's last will and testament.
In event that I do get taken by the Romulans to the Star Empire. Yes, Mark?
We didn't get much of a scan of the Romulan ship, but what did we get? Because we didn't have a chance to analyse the little we did get.
You didn't get a chance to analyse what little you did get, because as soon as they detected you were scanning them, they threw their shields up.
Ah, so we got nothing.
So you got next to nothing, I'm afraid, other than it's a Romulan warbird and its weapons and its shields were primed and ready after you scanned it.
Ah,
Or
okay.
attempted to.
Oh look, it's a Romulan warbird. Hold on, what? Oh god, it's putting up its shields. Oh. That was the scan.
So, you land on the Nightingale, and woo boy. Okay. Let's turn some of that off and let's put the ambience on.
Can you give me a little bit more time to write up this last will and testament, please?
Well, I'll give you a little bit of time because you beam onto utter chaos and destruction. And just as you do, within seconds of you landing, a team of 5 Romulan Centurions beam onto the bridge as well, which of course alarms all of those Starfleet crew who are still on the Nightingale bridge. And the Centurions do put a hand on their disruptor holsters. So, unless you want to, you're going to have to explain things real fast if you don't want a situation to blow up here.
Tavish is just going to tell them, don't keep your weapons holstered, do not do anything.
We're here to help, and they're here to monitor us.
Yes. We
It's
are.
the best way we can find a peaceful solution.
We are from the USS Combs. We, Starfleet, received your distress signal. The situation is very complicated at this very moment in time.
So, from behind what you reckon is more than likely the tactical position of the Nightingale Bridge, a Nova class being a lot smaller than, not a lot smaller, but certainly a smaller ship than the Combs. You recognize the face of the commander from the distress signal as she walks towards you with a very wary eye on the Romulans. Blort, what a great name. Well, so yes, you are surrounded by a lot of disheveled looking Starfleet officers. The bridge, as you can see, is in pieces. There are wires hanging down from the compartments. On the ceiling there are consoles that are smoking, there are consoles that are sparking. The bridge is lit by the emergency lighting only, and the first officer, who is now in technical command of the Nightingale, comes over to you. Thank goodness, Starfleet did hear our call. Commander Alison Lewis, of what's left of the Nightingale, and she's looking very nervously at the Romulans. Are you here to get us out of here?
We're working on it.
Well, as you can see, the ship is in, well, pieces, a mess. We're still trying our best to get pretty much anything working here at the moment. Warp power is offline, still. Thankfully, life support is stable, but for the most part, we are struggling to try and get our ship back together. We have virtually no engineers left. Most of our engineering team, and she's looking at the Romulans while she says this, were all killed or incapacitated when the warbird took a shot directly at our engineering section. Last I heard, they were still trying to fix the warp core. They had to shut it down due to safety reasons. The majority of my engineering crew are therefore dead or incapacitated, so for the time being, science teams are having to fill in for the dead engineers. We could use any and all help that you've got to give.
Well, we have our doctor and our nurse, and she'll look over at the Romulans.
The Romulans are
Would
just
you-
standing there to one side. They're just watching everything that's going on with their hands very much on their disruptors. They're not saying anything, and they're just kind of hanging off to that side.
She's going.
Oh, sorry.
Liz, you first, and then Mark afterward.
She's gonna speak in Romulans, like, you don't have to have your hands on your pistol. We're all gonna be friends here. Would you mind if our medical team goes treats the injured people and helps the medical staff of this ship in handling the injured?
The Romulans kind of look at each other, and then one of them nods to one of the others, and that one kind of steps forward, kind of silently looking like he's going to follow whoever goes to the sickbay area of the ship. So whoever, I mean, I imagine it's going to be Dr. Sot, or is it going to be Nurse Uro that's dispatched, or is it both dispatched to sickbay?
I think both.
Yeah, both.
Okay, cool. So, doo-doo, and doo-doo. So, Commander Lewis speaks up at this point, is, you're going to have to take the Jeffries tubes and the emergency access methods of getting down towards our sickbay. Unfortunately, as you can tell, a lot of our power systems are out, so there's no turbo lifts active. Such those guys
I guess
are
for
going to sickbay.
I guess the first thing is for Tavish and Lieutenant Commander Flesk to restore power, so we can actually do what we need to do.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is me and Tavish will go repair and get power and systems back online, so we can actually do more.
Commander Lewis, have you got a detailed
Record?
detailed record? Detailed record of what systems are down.
She gestures to the whole bridge. We've got everything down. Weapon systems are offline. General ship systems as a whole need bringing back up. You name it.
Life support?
Life support's holding for now because it's on emergency power. Propulsion systems are offline. Secondary systems need bringing back up. She leans in kind of towards Hopkins and Tavish at this. A self-destruct system also needs to be repaired. If worse comes to worse, we need to detonate the ship, but at the moment we don't have control to be able to do so. The main computer needs to be repaired as well. Pretty much every major ship system needs to be repaired.
That's why I'm here, Commander.
When Hopkins was speaking to the Romulans, did it look like the universal translator was working?
The Romulans are being very stoic at the moment, but they seemed to be listening to what you said, and considering they have spent one of their number to accompany Dr. Sot and Nurse Uro, it looks like at the moment there's no trouble with communication. The Romulans are just being quiet.
Because at the time when I was speaking to the Romulans, she would try to speak in Romulan.
Yeah, and I got that, so yeah, that's fine. You've got no trouble communicating, at least with the Romulans. They don't seem to be... They're not openly acknowledging, but you can tell, just from your ability to read people, that they did understand you.
Commander Lewis, how bad is the engineering deck?
As bad as you can possibly think. We took a direct hit, which is why the warp core system was shut off, because a lot of the safety systems were compromised. But what remains of our engineering crew can probably give you a better appraisal as to the situation when you get there. And I have to apologize for, well, actually, what class of ship do you come from?
Intrepid class.
Oh, well, at least you won't. It'll be less long of a walk to get down to engineering than it will be to for your own ship, if you had to hoof it. But I'm afraid it's going to be a walk, nonetheless. Our communication systems seem to be operating, but we don't know if communications is operating on every deck.
Okay. All right. Lieutenant Commander Flesk.
Yeah, let's see what we can get running up here, and then we'll go down and talk to the engineering staff.
Okay, Gaffer.
And hopefully there'll be more of them able to talk and less incapacitated.
Okay, Gaffer.
Commander Lewis ventures at this point, saying, if I could actually impose upon you, if you're looking to get things going in this area, at the moment, temporary emergency power is not cutting it. We need main power back online if we're going to try and get any of the systems back up. So if you could go down to engineering, like I said, we have no engineering or very few operations staff available.
Okay.
Somebody can remain on the bridge if you really wish to try and help get bridge systems back online, but we have to wait until you get the main power up first before we can start looking to do that.
Okay, we'll do main power first.
Yeah.
And then and if we can fix anything else down there before we come back up to the bridge, then we'll do that.
A pair of Romulans kind of walk forward with the unspoken intention of going with you. So how many of you are going to engineering?
I think it just needs to be me and Tavish, really.
Okay, so Hopkins is staying here on the bridge. Liz?
Yeah, she's gonna try to talk with whatever one of these Romulans is in command.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
So let me just quickly post. Let's see. Did I get everybody there? I didn't. Who did I miss? Oh no, there's the other Romulan. Okay. So let's get Tavish and Flask down to engineering. Yes, Dave.
Can we get a kind of see what the Romulans are feeling at the moment?
If you want to give me
a councillor.
Yeah, okay. If you want the councillor to give me, I'll let Hopkins jump in here too. Insight and command check from both of them. So probably Hopkins would be best to lead this, because Councillor Sachs is still a supporting character and therefore doesn't have as high stats as the commander.
Would I be able to use any focuses?
Let's have a look. Inspiration would be a good one, I think. Negotiation would also work as well, so you're pretty covered, yeah. You can use a focus. Connie, if I could get you to be the councillor, please.
Yes.
So insight and command from the councillor, she can certainly use her focus that's to do with her empathy. Ooh.
Ooh.
Hello, Hopkins. And the councillor does too as well.
Oh.
This is not Hopkins' first, nor would it probably be her last time dealing with Romulans.
Quite. And as such... Alright, the general feeling that both the councillor and Hopkins are getting as Tavish and Flesk, who I'm going to take your tokens away because you should be able to see through everybody else's eyes. I'm hoping that both Mark and Dave can still see this map, even though I've taken the character tokens away.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool. Because you're in engineering right now. So, the remaining two Romulans, both Hopkins, even without the benefit of Councillor Sachs's Betazoid abilities, get the idea that the Romulans are... You could almost swear they're buying time. They're here to supervise, so they say, and yet they're standing off to one side, getting as broad a view as everything as they possibly can. They're not hovering over your shoulder. I mean, they're within earshot, so anything that you say at a regular spoken volume, they could probably hear. The pointy ears probably help. Not to be too speciesist here, but, you know... But the Romulans aren't making as big a job of supervising as you would expect, or would have thought, at least from what the Romulan commander was harping on about. So the Romulans, there's something up here. You can't quite put your finger on it. Maybe it's just your general distrust of Romulans and the fact that Romulans are always up to something. But Councillor Sachs also gets the reading that the Romulans are very much waiting. Waiting for what is not entirely clear. But the overall sense that Hopkins and Sachs get from Commander Lewis is that Commander Lewis feels very much out of her depth here. She has been not long... You get the feeling that she's been not long at the role of first officer, and now all of a sudden she's been thrust into a situation that she's very inexperienced for, too inexperienced for, very much over her head. She's feeling overwhelmed by everything that's going on, and she's really she's looking at Hopkins take charge, and she's really hoping that Hopkins remains in charge of the situation, taking as much of the burden off of her as she can possibly get. So she's definitely very up for deferring to Hopkins's Hopkins's experience in this matter.
Still looking at the Romulans, she's gonna be like, So, Commander, who's your communications officer?
That would be Basith Chikakonos down there. She points at the Andorian, the communications console. Unfortunately, he's lost one of his antennae, so he keeps on holding his missing antenna on his head as he's typing in commands. He looks like he's furiously busy.
She's gonna walk over to the communication person. When
he actually jumps when Hopkins comes up behind him, as if he didn't notice she was there.
When the Romulans first appeared, did they try to communicate, or did they just open fire?
To my recollection, my recollection, sir, they just opened fire.
She's gonna look at the Romulans and see if they're gonna try to contradict.
The Romulans don't try and contradict. They're just standing there. They're watching everything. I mean, the nearest one is watching what Hopkins is doing, because Hopkins keeps looking in their direction. But otherwise, they don't offer any opinion. I mean, everything was going fine. We were just cruising on to our next assignment, but all of a sudden an alert went up. Apparently we'd crossed over the neutral zone, and then the Romulans just decloaked right in front of us, and then all hell broke loose. Sir. After that, there were so many explosions. The ship took a major hit. The captain was killed during one of the explosions on the bridge, I think. No, that's not right. I'm sorry, sir. I'm very disorientated. The loss of my antenna. I'm having trouble focusing. No worries. I can't remember what happened to the captain. No, wait, I remember now. She left the bridge really quickly. After we discovered that we'd wandered into the neutral zone. And then we got... I remember getting word afterwards that the security teams had found the captain dead in her quarters. And I don't know what happened after that. She's probably still down in sickbay, if they haven't moved her to the morgue. Last I remember getting word from sickbay was that they were so overwhelmed down there they converted one of the nearby cargo bays into a makeshift morgue.
Interesting. We would try to communicate to Dr. Sot to See about going to examine the captain's body to figure out if it was actually an explosion that killed her or something else.
Okay, cool. So you communicate that to Dr. Sutton. We'll get that in just a moment's time. For the others on the bridge, at the moment you're kind of hampered in your ability to help too much in the fact that a lot of the systems are offline due to power loss. So getting started on any tasks to repair individual systems is going to be hampered. But it is going to take Flesk and Tavish time to get down to the engineering section. So the people who will get to their area first are going to be the doctor and the nurse. So let's go to sickbay first. If I can just confirm that everybody can see.
Yep.
So, as you might imagine, since we don't have Mr. Powell here with us, Dr. Sott will be operating along with Nurse Uro by committee. So when they eventually come out of the Jeffries tubes, they come across the outside of sickbay has got a line of various crew members who are sporting various injuries, minor burns, cuts, abrasions, hurt limbs, and they are all being attended to by a single nurse who is just travelling up the line as quickly as she can go, examining people's wounds, trying to see whether or not they are in need of emergency surgery now, or if they can just be patched up quickly in order to be sent on. One of the unfortunate, rather grisly, well, not grisly, but whatever the best description for this would be, down the other end of the corridor there are body bags, which kind of gives you a clue as to the situation that the medical staff find themselves in. With the Romulan in tow, I'm going to just basically scoot you guys into the main medical area. You find sickbay basically overwhelmed. It looks like they have suffered some damage to systems, and with the power out, the medical staff are having to make do without the biobeds being functional, so they are doing all of this without the complex medical scanners that the biobeds have, so they're having to rely on handheld tricorders to try and help diagnose their patients. There aren't that many, and you do notice that as well as pardon me, I'm umming and ahhing a lot, as well as actually trained nursing staff, at least one of the nursing staff looks like someone from science who's been co-opted into trying to assist. The one guy who seems to be in charge with the command lapels would be Commander Gatrell, who looks to be the chief medical officer, who is very busy trying to attend to a wounded crew member who has suffered a great many grievous injuries. The Romulan flanking Dr. Sott and Nurse Uro seems content to just kind of stand in the doorway and watch as Nurse Uro and Dr. Sott are now given free rein to assist in whatever manner they deem necessary. So what would they like to do while they were here? They're going to ask any questions, or are they just going to get stuck in and ask to just assist?
I think it's good. I rather them get stuck in and assist.
Yeah.
Before answering any questions.
Okay, cool. So Dr. Sott and Nurse Uro basically announce themselves to Commander Gatrell, a Vulcan, who immediately requests assistance from Dr. Stott in helping the officer that he's currently working on. Being a typical Vulcan, Commander Gatrell is being very stoic about the whole situation. Nevertheless, Dr. Sott, being able to read Vulcans as he can detect that this is a man who is dealing as well as he can with a very difficult situation here. And yeah, from a conversation with the Nightingale's chief medical officer, Dr. Sott gets the impression that out of a crew of about 80, 40 crew members are either dead or incapacitated. There are still a good many body bags in the other medical bay that have yet to be shifted out to the makeshift morgue. So the medical team here are overwhelmingly understaffed. Which sounds a bit like an oxymoron, but I'm going to go with it. So, in order to help clear the backlog as much as they can, Gittrell is very grateful for any and all assistance Dr. Sott and Nurse Uro can give. So that's when Dr. Sott gets the incoming communication from Hopkins that when they get the chance, Hopkins would very much like Dr. Sott to see if he can perform some kind of examination of the Nightingale captain's body. But for right now, Dr. Sott is being put to work with assisting with the alarming amount of care that needs to be given to the Nightingale crew. So, whilst that's going on, we move ourselves now to engineering. Now, as you can imagine, engineering isn't much better than sickbay, but is in one hell of a state. It looks like the damage down here is extensive. The first thing that Tavish and Flask notice is the sheer unfortunate absence of those with the kind of gold or yellow operations colours. There are a lot of blue science who have been co-opted into assisting here, so they are doing their best with what they've got. But overall, it seems that the only one still in charge here is a Tellarite, who is furiously working at the core and swearing under her breath.
Tavish, he's going to run down to the core.
So the Tellarite turns around, looks Tavish up and down really quickly, offers a hand, which is smeared in grease and maybe a little blood as well. Lieutenant Morrow, good to have you here. Right, I need you to help with me. I need you to help me with this.
Lieutenant Tavish, what's going on? It looks like, yeah, that does not look good.
It is not good. It is as very far from good as we can possibly get. We need to repair the warp core before we even dream of bringing it back online. So I'm going to need as much help as I can get. Plus, she looks behind her, a lot of these guys are either shook, lost friends, or don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't have much of an engineering team down here, so I need somebody to coordinate and lead them.
Well, I'm chief engineer on my ship, but I'm sure that Lieutenant Commander Flesk can help out.
Lieutenant Commander? Yeah, that's more authority than we've had in here for a good many hours.
I have a gameplay question. Is the warp core breached?
You don't think so, otherwise there wouldn't be people here.
Okay. Because then my next question was, with repair team leader,
yes,
if we repair anything, I can spend 3 momentum to repair 1 breach. I was going to say, can I use that to successfully repair power systems, then if we succeeded at that, repair warp core?
Sure, sounds like a good idea to me. Use the advantages that you've got.
We bring the warp core online first before we bring up power systems up online.
Exactly. Yeah. So, let me.
Can we get Flesk down here? Let's. I rather it. It be like, oh god.
Okay, so that is.
Don't go in the warp core.
Yeah, don't go. Don't go in the warp core. It's sparking. So what I've got here is an extended task. You know, we were talking about extended tasks earlier. So this is where Flesk and Tavish come into their own. So.
And I've got in the nick of time as well.
I've got a few talents which are gonna help me with this. Miracle Worker. Also, I know my ship. Whenever you attempt a task to determine the source of a technical problem with your ship, add 1 bonus.
D20.
It's not your ship.
There is that. But
is it similar enough that we can use it?
Yeah.
Well, it just says that whenever you attempt a task to determine the source of a technical... Because I know my ship is just the title of the talent. Overall, what we're looking at is what the talent actually does. And it says whenever you attempt a task to determine the source of a technical problem with your ship, add a bonus d20. This isn't your ship. But you have the advantage of you don't need to diagnose the problem because they've already told you what the problem is. The warp core had to be shut down due to a direct hit on the engineering section of the ship. Therefore, you need to patch this thing back together in order to make it safe to reactivate.
Okay, alright, Miracle Worker then.
So what we've got here is an extended task. This extended task is it has got work track of 14, which is how long it's going to take you to complete it. The difficulty is 1, so any and all tasks that you can make to try and repair the warp core are rolled against a difficulty of 1, so you shouldn't do too badly for this at all, the pair of you. So, go for it. This is probably going to be... Well, most repair tends to be a daring kind of job. So daring and engineering.
Okay, my Miracle Worker comes in.
So this is where Flesk can probably defer to Chief Engineer Tavish and assist.
I'm going to assist. I'm also going to use my focus of warp field dynamics.
Good idea.
Warp core, but I'm also going to steal one of those momentum to roll 2 dice.
You say steal. Use.
Use. Hopefully borrow. Might be able to put it back later
Well,
on.
yeah.
But also my talent of in the nick of time. If we succeed at this, we also get another bonus 1.
Which will be very, very useful.
Obviously, parent figure and Legion of Honor at the ready.
He's got it on speed dial, folks.
Or I could use it for 2 bonus. Gain 2 bonus momentum. Oh wait, I could do that. No, never mind. We'll wait for the next roll.
All right.
I've got a focus in warp engines.
Yep, that'll help.
I'm also going to use Miracle Worker, which whenever you use engineering on an extended task, if you achieve a breakthrough and roll at least 1 effect on a challenge die, you achieve a second breakthrough.
Yes, indeed, and therefore that will become very helpful in getting this done quickly. So,
do you want to steal a momentum as well? Use a momentum as well.
Well, if I was thinking, I don't know what Lieutenant Morrow. If Lieutenant Morrow's going to be in on this,
she can try and help if you really want.
If we don't use them and we use that momentum, I can use Legion of Honor if we don't gain any more bonus momentum to instantly put those 2 back in, assuming we don't need to use parent figure or Legion of Honor beforehand.
What, you want me to take? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Let's do a mega roll.
We'll do a mega roll between Flesk and Tavish.
Mega. Team engineering.
So take it.
Oh.
Hoping for those 3 ones.
Alright, focus.
So,
Read
roll them
eye.
dice. Ooh, it was a 4, then it rolled over
Ooh.
14. 19. Ooh, that was a close one. But, nevertheless, one success. Which means you've gotten over the difficulty, so anything else is added extra. An 18 and a 12 and a 9, not bad, so you do get 2 momentum back. Well done. Which means you're back up to full, which means now, since Tavish was the lead, I want you to roll 7 challenge dice for me, please, to see how well you do.
System stable.
Systems are not that stable, thank you, computer. So, yep, yes you do, yes you do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There was 2 effects, so that's what you wanted. So,
And an additional work for every effect rolled.
yeah, so you got
in the nick of
5
time.
successes, which is a breakthrough, which means that you got 2 extra work thanks to Flesk, and thanks to Tavish, you got 2 breakthroughs rather than just the 1. So, my god. You guys fixed the warp core in half the time it would have otherwise taken any regular folks. Wow. So, yeah, you do a bit of jiggery pokery. You take a bit of time to make sure you patch the things, but you guys are so good at your job that the unstable sparking is stopped. As such, the power systems are secured, and the warp core has been repaired to the best of your knowledge. Well done.
Can I point out that Tavish has done this by the book, by the way?
Yeah.
You know, there's no, jiggery pokery,
Which
like
is good.
she's done before.
Which is very good,
She's-
and as a result, shows your operational familiarity with Starfleet warp systems. Now, Lieutenant Morrow pipes up at this. Okay, that's good. Great, thank you. Before we actually kick this thing into operation, we need to make sure that the safety systems are repaired and online, because if we throw this thing on without making sure the safety systems are online and fully functional, things could go bad, and we might need to turn this thing off again. So, my one remaining engineer, Lieutenant Naval, over there, and she points to the Vulcan on the console. If you can assist him with making sure the warp safety systems are back online before we kick this thing into action, we can turn on the power.
Okay, dokie.
Let's do it.
So this becomes another extended task. We'll get back to the other folks after we have managed to kick some power back into operation.
Can we do the same again? Use 2 momentum. Since we got it back.
Play the hits, that's what I like to hear. Now this one is difficulty 2. Less work,
Let's do it.
but difficulty 2.
Let's do it. Let's do what we did again.
Same thing
Flesh-
again. If it works,
Flesh Tavish.
just do it.
The Flesh Tavish team.
I'm still going to be using the focus of warp field dynamics because it's
Yep, it's warp core safety,
Safety
systems,
systems.
Warp engineers? Warp engineer? Warp engines, sorry.
Yep. You know the safety systems that need to be engaged before you activate a warp core, so yes, absolutely.
So, Flesh rolling 2, Tavish rolling 3.
Alright
Yeah.
then.
let's go.
That's a really good one. That is so far and above what you need. There's a 20!
Parrot figure.
Tavish, in her eagerness, goes a little bit beyond, you don't need that safety feature, at which point Flesk just nudges her hand out the way and goes, no, you really do. Let's not report that to the captain. You're getting keen, Lily, and I love it, but, we need these safety features online.
Oh, fine.
At which point Tavish is like, Yeah, actually, now that you point it out, yeah, actually you do. Okay. Well, that momentum goes straight back into the pool again, so, yeah. If it was Tavish who was in the lead, then Tavish once again rolls 7 challenge dice, and we'll see how many successes you get out of this. Not successes, how much work you get out of this. Let me use the proper terminology here. No effects. But you do put in as many successes as there is a track to work on. So you get 1 breakthrough. Does the extra breakthroughs only happen if you get an effect?
Yeah, for mine,
Right,
it's
okay.
for every effect.
If you achieve a breakthrough and roll at least 1 effect on a
Okay.
challenge die, you achieve a second breakthrough.
Okay, so you achieved 1 breakthrough thanks to the fact that you got over 5 in one go, but you got to the end of the work track, which means that essentially the second breakthrough was found. You managed to safely reactivate the warp core safety systems, which means you're ready to turn on the power. There's a bit of apprehension as you kind of like cross your fingers or turn around and spit or whatever superstitions you want to engage in, if you want to engage in them, as you then flip the activation lever for the warp core, and the warp core jumps into operation and begins to pulse with power once again. Woo! As you hear that familiar thrum of warp power. And everyone gives a little cheer. Now you can start to get to work in earnest on other stuff. There's plenty of other problems which you will be able to diagnose. Gives a confident nod to the Romulans. The Romulans are just watching impassively. So, Lieutenant...
to evoke a reaction.
You get nothing. They're just standing there watching this. Lieutenant Morrow comes out from near the warp core and goes, "Right, okay, good. Now we can start with everything else. At the very least, we need some of the exterior hull plating around engineering fixed so that we can repair the hull breaches. But that..."
Can I use the successes from our work there in extended tasks to spend 3 momentum to repair breaches?
Well, we will get to that in a
okay.
bit. But for now, let's go back to the bridge. So, take away that ambience and bring up the bridge ambience. So, those of you who are on the bridge, Gurkow, Hopkins, Garrow, and the Councillor, there's a sputter and a spark as some of the main the main bridge lights come back on. At which point, Commander Lewis goes, "Oh, thank goodness. Wow, your crew are good. Right, okay, we need to start working at bringing on the other ship systems. There are plenty of ship systems that need bringing back online. Weapon systems need bringing back online. Main computer needs bringing back online. Secondary systems and propulsion need to be brought back online as well. And let's not forget the self-destruct repair."
Oh, Jesus.
So you guys have plenty to do. So what would you like to attack first? I'll move the self-destruct repair icon over there a bit.
Well, let's get propulsion systems, because if we get weapons activated, it might be a little suspicious.
Connie, you on board with that?
Yeah, I was thinking propulsion or computer repair.
Okay, cool. Well, if you're going to go for propulsion, then the helm officer, a Vulcan female called Tashur, would very much like some assistance. So, Hopkins does not have any focuses. Neither does Gurkha, really, except for the usual. Well, then again, extravehicular activity would probably help here, actually, because you are going for con-related whatever. So the pair of you can give me... let's see, it's going to be either control or... let's go with... reason or control and con would be, I think, required for bringing the propulsion systems back up. So, whichever of you thinks that you would be better leading.
Well,
you can ask the helm officer for some help.
Yeah. I think Connie should do it because her reason or control's 9 with 3 con, and I have 8 with 3 con.
I mean, we could have the helm officer maybe take
the helm officer's control is 10 and con is 4.
Yeah, so if we all have Monsieur be the main, and we can assist me with my beautiful focus.
Yeah.
Alrighty. No problem. So if Hopkins and Gurkha can both give me their assists, I will roll for the helm officer. So that was almost a 20, it rolled over onto a 2, which is much better, so there we are. And let's give the helm officer to Shura with a focus. Okay, groovy. So 3 successes overall, 2 over and above what you needed. So if I can have Connie, if you can roll me 6 challenge dice, please. We'll see how well you did. Do you remember how to do that?
No. Is it perform challenge?
It's perform challenge, and when it asks you for how many dice, you put in 6.
Alrighty.
Ooh, that wasn't so good. Okay. So, yeah, a lot of the systems are blasted to hell. It looks like you might need a bit of rewiring done in here in order to reinitialize the helm systems. So you might need to give that another go. So, one more go doing the same thing again, I think. If you want to give it another oof. You can buy momentum.
Oh.
Well, I like the fact that you went and assumed that you'd succeeded there. Okay, cool. So attempt number 2 was a little less successful than the last one. This is taking a while to get reinitialized. So how about we try that one more time, but this time we do actual skill task rolls to see if we can help any. So Hopkins and oh, hello. Has anyone's got Legion of Honor? Now would be the time to use it.
Legion of Honor, Legion of Honor.
Maybe Liz should roll the challenge dice this time. Connie, you haven't seemed to have much success there.
No.
You might want to take over. Liz, you know how to do this?
I was just making sure Connie didn't have to roll her skill check. Okay, so 6 challenge dice.
Yes, Papa, please. That's better. One effect doesn't achieve much, but it achieves just about enough to finally achieve a breakthrough. So this takes you a goodly long while to complete. So this takes you a lot longer than you anticipated, which is no small surprise considering that you haven't had to reinitialize helm control before. But so this takes you nearly 2 hours to do. So Hopkins and Gurkha are very much involved in what they're doing here. The Romulans are still just watching. Meanwhile, Commander Lewis is trying to coordinate her officers to try and kick some of the other systems into action. So apparently her tactical officer is trying to look into reinitializing weapons. Her ops officer, Claude, is trying to initialize the secondary systems. One of the Vulcan officer over in the back there, Lieutenant Telek, looks like he is trying to reinitialize the computer systems. Which to which Commander Lewis says, "Oh, I like the initiative, Lieutenant. Well done. I didn't even have to tell you to do it." To which point the Vulcan just nods and goes back to what he was doing. So Garrow is kind of basically keeping an eye on the Romulans at this point. He's not too sure. He wants to not be paying attention to what the Romulans are doing. So let's move what was hang on, there was a Badop. Get Garrow to punch the secondary systems into working. Well, you know, if you want him to try and help, he can certainly to help Officer Claude try and get the systems back up.
I kind of want to see him try.
Honestly, I want to see him and the counselor try to insist on this one.
Oh, all right.
Why they're working on that? Why me and Garo were working on, or Gurkha were working on the navigations.
Seem to have somehow created a shadow duplicate of the counselor because somebody else moved her. Whoops. Alrighty then. So, who wants to be Garrow? Who wants to be Councillor Sachs? Either way, this is going to be maybe a control or reason and science to try and get operations back online.
Lord to assist them as well.
Yep.
Seeing as he stood right next to it.
Lord will assist with a focus. Yep. So whoever wants to be Garrow can be Garrow, whoever wants to be the Councillor can be the Councillor, and they're doing either reason or control and science in order to try and get ship systems back online. Any focuses in power distribution or internal ship systems,
combat.
which I doubt either of them have, so you may as well just go on talent alone.
I'll roll for Garrow.
Okay.
Do we want to use momentum on this?
Do you want to use momentum? Good question. You'd probably only be allowed one because that would be it. Connie, what was that?
Yeah, whoever...
Might as well use momentum, right?
Yeah.
Alright, whoever uses Sax can take the momentum. I'll just roll 2 for Garrow.
Whose idea was this? We may as well get you to do Councillor Sachs then, if you please. We will take the 10 rather than the 18, I think, from that, since you were meant to be assisting.
No, we used a momentum.
Oh yes. Pardon my silliness. So
we
that's
still taking a 10
1, 2,
though.
3, 4. It was a difficulty 1 subsystem to get in, so as such, you got more than your fair share of momentum back. So whoever was leading can...
Okay, how many dice is Garrow punching with?
What did he use? He used science, so he's actually using 5 challenge dice.
Punch it working.
As such, we get 3 successes, 1 effect to do not much with. So I'm gonna need another chance to try and get the secondary power systems, operation systems working. So if they want to do that all over again, they can certainly give me a test. Same folks can try again.
Okay, go on then. And Sax might as well take a momentum again.
Sure. Looks like it's down to you guys, Liz and Mark. Budoip, Budoip, and Lord. It is a good name. I'm glad I came up with it. I just thought, what kind of name would a rock man have? Something blunt. Lord. So, 1, 2, 3, yep, all those successes give you stuff back. So, roll those challenge dice again.
5 again?
5 again, please. That's better. 3 successes, 1 effect, 1, 2, 3. Come to the end of that, and you do reactivate the secondary systems. So that one goes away, as does propulsion. So you've now got operations up and running again, so that power distribution can be managed and allocated. Communications officer Chakanos can certainly attest that he would very much like to respond to all of these communications for assistance for power to be distributed to any and all necessary systems. So yes, you've now got some of the core functionality of the ship back up and running. Let us take a quick sideline to Dr. Stott whilst he is helping out with everything going on in sickbay. So, Dave, since you weren't rolling just then, can I get you to give me a control and medicine task from Dr. Stott, please, with a focus on emergency medicine, just to get a general idea of how well he's been helping out, what kind of how high an impact he's had on trying to assist with the injured.
Might as well take a momentum.
Oh, he's just going to go on pure talent.
Just smash it.
Look at that. So yeah, Dr. Sott, being the talented physician that he appears to be, is very much helping with clearing the backlog. Many hands make light work, as they say, and when the power does come back, there's a collective sigh of relief from the medical staff as the biobeds get some power back online. So that will make things so much easier. Dr. Gatrell does thank Dr. Stott for his assistance and says that his help has assisted him immeasurably, and for the moment they have got a bit of a breath of fresh air to try and coordinate what happens next. So the security officer who was being treated can now be moved onto a recovery bed, and Dr. Cottrell can try and now get a handle on some of the staff who need to be seen to are still lining the corridors. So if Dr. Sott now wants to take the time to have an examination of the captain's body, now would be the time. So...
yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So, asking to see where the captain's body is kept, Dr. Sott will ask Dr. Gatrell for permission to do so, and for the moment, you've got enough time to be able to divert to have a good old look. So, Commander / Dr. Gatrell says that there hasn't been much time to do autopsies or to properly determine the cause of death for most of the losses that have been endured by the ship's crew. The medical team certainly don't have the time, and the dead aren't really going anywhere, so triage has become priority at this point. So a nearby cargo bay has been turned into a makeshift morgue, which becomes obvious by the time that Sott finds it and finds that they've lowered the temperature in order to try and accommodate that. The dead are all laid out in rows and tagged for identification. Each body has been covered with a sheet out of respect. Dr. Sott looking around, examining the dead, the few science officers who've been co-opted into basically being what do they call them? Porters, essentially, for sickbay, moving the dead into the into the morgue, as it's now become. It will take about 10 minutes for Dr. Sott to perform a full investigation of the captain's body when he eventually finds it. Most cases that Dr. Sott is coming across, the cause of death is asphyxiation from exposure to vacuum, or physical trauma from falling wreckage, or burns from a nearby explosion. All these are pretty consistent with what anyone would expect from an attack the magnitude that the Nightingale has suffered. However, that's not who we are mostly concerned with here. So we're going to get to if Dr. Sott can give us a reason and medicine check with bonuses for trauma surgery. So who are we gonna have to do this? Dave did it last time, so how about Connie, do you want to take this one? Since, Chris isn't with us.
I would, but I'm not rolling very well today.
Okay, if you want to shirt the hat of blame to somebody else, that's fine. Dave, Mark, or Liz, any takers for an investigative role by Dr. Sott?
You got this, Mark.
Oh, okay.
You'll say I can do it again if you want me to.
Alright, so what am I rolling for? It's
reason and medicine for Dr.
and
Sott, please, to examine the dead captain's body.
medicine. Go on then, I will take a momentum then, why not?
It's there to be used, you may as well use it.
Is there anything he can use? Doctor's orders? No. Field medicine. When attempting a task, you may ignore or any increase in difficulty. No.
That's basically
okay,
what he's been using to cope with the fact that the biobeds haven't had any power. So, because he's so used to being able to, he's trained himself to be able to operate without technology. That's a good reason why he was able to help clear the black log as well as he was.
Yeah, let's go for 3 dice. Go on then.
Neat. There was a 19, which was a close call, but you still get 2 successes, which is very good. Okay, so the most interesting body is obviously that of Captain Blake. Asking any of the nearby quarters, as I noted, what they reckon the captain died from, they'll say it was that she was badly injured when a bulkhead fell on her. Although apparently she had been moving towards her quarters at the time, which is unusual. A cursory investigation by Sott shows a nasty wound on her head. However, to having a good old look, Dr. Sott realizes that Captain Blake's actual cause of death was asphyxiation, but there are marks on her neck that are consistent with strangulation. Many of her wounds might also have been caused by physical combat. So make of that what you will.
And Dr. Sott would have been communicating this to everyone on the open channel, so everyone's aware.
I don't want to assume, but if that's what you say happened, then I'm fine with that.
No, not on open channel.
Oh, sorry, open channel for Starfleet.
No, not on open channel for Starfleet.
Go on.
It would have been a private channel of those of the away team, not of the whole ship.
Oh, okay.
Just in case
we
the
don't know who
Romulans
did it.
are listening in.
Just
Yes.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And I think Dr. Sott would be like, oh, I've just found marks on her neck.
So he'd be suspicious. Yeah.
Yes, so a private channel between the away team, so no other people on the ship, including, you know, Romulan and the other Starfleet, can hear it. So it is just, yeah, the away team.
With that in mind, then, with this information in hand, what do you want to do now?
I think we need to get the ship records.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the best places to get that, whilst the computer system is being worked on, there's still the navigation system, which apparently is at the heart of this mystery as to how this ship actually did stray over the border. So either, I mean, there's still a good deal of repair work that needs doing, which Flesk and or Tavish can assist with. Obviously, Sot does have some talent in some areas, but he's probably better off sticking in sickbay. But there still needs to be an investigation, probably into either by bringing on the main computer or by going to the navigational deflector array itself to see if there's any way of finding out what happened in there. So,
going to the navigational array.
Okay. So if you're going to go to the navigational array, now you have to decide who's going to the navigational array.
Shall we go?
Now, bearing in mind,
Yeah,
any guys you take away from one place, you know, are not going to be able to affect repairs or whatever in other places. So,
Do
sure
we
to
want
bear that in
to?
mind.
Do you want to take? Do you want Tavish to go?
Yeah, I think Tavish would be a good call for the navigation system.
Okay. So then, diddly-doo. So we've got an engineering bridge sickbay. So let's carry on with that. Back to engineering. So let's go out of sickbay and go back to engineering ambience. So we've taken care of the warp core and we've re-engaged the safety systems. There's still exterior hull plating that needs to be repaired, but if one or more of you wants to divert off to the main navigational array, you can do so. And that was going to be Tavish, yes?
Yes.
Yes,
Alright.
but on that, as repair team leader, I can spend 3 momentum to repair a breach. Would that be used? Something I could use on the exterior hull plating.
Absolutely.
There we go. I'll just steal 3, use 3 momentum then.
I will take
And
Tavish
instantly
away
fix that.
and one of the Romulan Centurions. Let me take these extras. I don't need to pay for their appearance. So Flesk is basically going to help with exterior hull plating repairs. Alrighty. Let's do that first then, shall we? This is going to be difficulty 3.
Oh, sorry, I was going to ask if I can use the talent of repair team leader because we succeeded. Can that be used to just completely fix the exterior hull plating, or does that just...
By spending 3
Not
momentum
applying.
to just also repair 1 breach, if to bypass the whole thing. That actually makes a lot of sense. I should have thought of that sooner.
Yeah,
If you're
I'm
willing to
just
spend the momentum, then by all means, yes, cancel out the need to actually do an extended task.
gonna... Is
by
everyone okay
using
with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Done.
So Flesk essentially spends the next however long now gathering together all the various folks who are in engineering and coordinating them, which they've obviously lacked a leader figure because their chief engineer was more than likely killed in the blast that hit engineering. So as soon as Tavish goes off, Flesk uses his organizational skills and the fact that he's got Lieutenant Commander pips to start coordinating everybody so that, yes, the exterior hull plating damage can be taken care of pretty quickly, especially with Flesk calling all the shots. So, nice. So, let's move away from engineering and go to the navigational deflector.
I feel like Tavish would have been talking to the Romulan, even though the Romulan wouldn't have said anything.
Nope. He kept quiet the entire time.
Have you ever done like a 0G turn, round an asteroid?
The Romulan Centurion just looks at Tavish and then just keeps looking straight ahead. Then kind of stands off to one side and is watching what Tavish does. But there's also one other fellow in the navigational array room with you. Has got the freckle spots of a trill, and he seems to be working furiously on the system that he's parked himself in front of.
Hey.
Oh, he seems to startle. I didn't realize anybody else was here. Yeah, hi, can I help you?
Yes, I am from the USS Combs. My name is Lieutenant Tavish. I am the chief engineer on board.
Chief engineer, thank goodness.
Who would you be?
Oh, sorry, sir. Lieutenant Dallon. Astronavigation. Or at least, for now. Considering what I've done here.
What have you done?
Well, this has to be my fault. I mean...
What do you mean?
A fault with the navigation brought us here over the line to the Romulan side of the neutral zone. I mean... How stupid a mistake could I have made? Everybody in jeopardy. It's all my fault.
Alright. Let's not, put blame on who did what and who's, who we should be pointing at and shouting at. Let's have a look at the system and we'll go from there.
Sure.
Yeah?
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
So,
alright.
I input the navigational coordinates, as I normally do, as were sent down by Con, so that we could proceed on to the next astrological survey we were going to conduct. Everything seemed fine. An hour or two later, I came back to the array to check that everything was fine, and I don't usually do this, and it's not necessarily protocol to do so, but I like to be thorough, so I checked the math, did an external scan of where we were astrologically, and the numbers didn't add up. Somehow we had drifted. The navigational computer swore that we were on course, but when I checked our stellar location, according to the stars that were outside, we had drifted way, way off course. I don't know how that error happened. I don't know what it was I inputted incorrectly or what. Thank goodness I did, though, because if I hadn't, maybe we'd have drifted even further off course than we were already. So I let the captain know that we were so far off course, we had to turn back quickly before the Romulans noticed, and unfortunately the Romulans noticed. So that's how we've ended up in this situation.
Alright. Are the records still intact?
I need to reboot the navigational system in order to try and get the system back online to report any errors.
Okay, let's do that then.
I'm going to need a reason and con task with a difficulty of 1 to investigate the navigational array system.
And this is where I go, God damn it. Because I took point out of my con. Oh well.
Like I said, difficulty 1, so it's not the most difficult thing in the world to do, but...
No focuses at all?
Not
I haven't got any, just gonna help.
really. You'd given up the con-related focus before to focus on AI programming, so...
Yeah. Oh well.
Alright, very good. 2 successes, which means you got 1 over and above what you needed. Investigating the system, with a little bit of help from Lieutenant Dallon here, you find that there is no fault with the navigational console whatsoever. Which means there are two possibilities. One, the officer on duty was to blame, either on purpose or by accident, or there's something wrong with the navigational sensor array itself, which, in order to check that, you'd have to go onto the exterior of the ship in order to check the navigational sensor array.
So no, can I have a look to see who was the last person to input?
It seems to be that Lieutenant Dallon was the last to actually use the input of the system, which correlates with his story because it seems to be a position check that he called for. Okay, so that squares with Lieutenant Dallon's story so far.
Probably, I want to eliminate technical problems before I start blaming the navigational officer.
Now, as the navigation officer himself, Lieutenant Dallon, says you're going to need to use the external hatch in order to the exterior exit in order to get onto the navigational deflector array. I've got an EVA suit you can use here. What about the Romulans, sir? I mean, I can try and distract him if you want. Or do you actually want the Romulan to go out on the surface of the ship with you?
Alright, let Dave think.
Let Dave think, okay. Anyone else on the floor want to venture an opinion what they think should happen?
Yeah, let's see if the Romulan's going to follow him out.
So you want to wait and see if the Romulan follows Tavish out onto the surface of the ship?
Actually, no. No, Tavish is, I think Tavish is a bit foolhardy. And we'll probably go, look, I'm going out onto the exterior of the ship. You can follow me if you want.
Okay. In which case the Romulan Centurion does plant himself next to Tavish and does indeed follow her out. Now, the Centurion does have to spend a moment sending a communication to the Warbird to request an EVA suit. Doesn't seem unreasonable. You're right next to the Romulan when he does it, and therefore when he does get an EVA suit beamed to him, he starts getting dressed in it, which Tavish can do the same. It doesn't take you much time to go out onto the exterior of the ship. And so I am going to need Tavish now to give me a reason and engineering check. You don't have any focuses on navigation as such, but you do have for computers, so I'll let you use that as a focus. Now the Romulan is the Romulan is sticking really close to Tavish as she goes on this spacewalk on the outer hull of the ship. They haven't done this before, so whatever. You are, yes, sorry.
I am going to
Insight and engineering for this, please. Sorry, difficulty 1.
Not reason and engineering.
Not reason, no. Insight and engineering. I looked at the wrong bit. Sorry.
Okay. Give me 2 seconds.
All right. 2 seconds.
We're focusing computers. I am looking at the array at the moment. Yes.
Yes. So you're on the outside of the ship. You're not far from the navigational deflector, and around the navigational deflector are some of the outgoing sensor dishes, if you like.
I'm going to use a determination.
You could.
Calling a crisis.
Yep.
I feel, with how much pressure she's under at the moment.
Okay. So, with that in mind, give me the insight and engineering test, please. Ooh. Thing? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the thing.
Legion of
the
Honor.
thing, Legion of Honor.
Legion of Honor. Gotcha. So that takes care of that complication. Still keeps 3 successes, which means that you do get 2 momentum back. And Tavish notices that as Tavish opens up the navigational array to investigate it, it becomes clear that someone has sabotaged the array. Several of the isolinear chips have been rearranged in order to cause a malfunction. And as Tavish does this, she's having a look at the isolinear chip's configuration, and she then, notices, well, hang on, these aren't in the right configuration. She hears the Romulan behind her suddenly signal into his uses EV suit's communication system, and thankfully he's not been clever enough to disable the universal translator. At which point he goes to his earpiece and goes, "We may have a problem, Commander." You don't hear the response, but the next thing Tavish realizes is as she turns around to see what the Romulan is going to do, is that she sees the Romulan Centurion pointing his disruptor at her. That's where we're going to end it for this evening.
Okay, that personal force field was a very good shout.
Oh,
Well,
intriguing.
you know what? It's been really fun playing Lily.
Oh, looks like Liz chose to back away from the situation just as... I don't know if you caught all of that, Liz, or if you're even back yet. No, she's not. Okay. Elizabeth's going to have to be appraised as to what happened. But yes. So not only do we have a very diplomatically interesting situation going on here, but it seems that there may be a saboteur on board.
I've got a guess of who it is, but I'm gonna keep that to myself.
Okay.
We have quite a few saboteurs in Starfleet, don't we?
We do.
It seems to be a recurring problem, yeah. Maybe
Must be
security needs to be better. What was that, sorry?
Must be changelings. The
Wow,
Klingons
exactly.
were right all along.
The Klingons were indeed right all along, and if Elizabeth were here to hear us tell her that, she'd be vindicated. Nevertheless, next week is when we continue this episode and hopefully finish it. The 17th is going to be interesting because, at the very least, I don't think Chris and yourself coming along to the Kung Fu dinner in Landif that we're having?
Not the dinner, no.
Okay. So we won't see you then. So in that case, it's just Mark and myself are going to have to skedaddle from the game as quickly as we can, because they've now changed the meetup time to being 4:30. But we are allowed to still turn up at 5, but turn up at 4:30 if we can. So it's going to be cutting a bit fine for Mark and myself, but I don't know how close Mark lives to Landif.
It should be fine. I'll end up driving from mine. I'm not going to try and wait on an Uber.
Yeah, so
I'll
it's
just park
it's
up
going to
and leave
be
the car.
it's going to be a bit of a close thing for me as well, but nonetheless, next week the 17th should be hopefully the conclusion to this episode, and it will probably likely be the last Combs of this year, because the following Sunday after that is Christmas Eve, and the following Sunday after that is New Year's Eve. So I'm not going to ask people to attend those. So yeah, we'll see how the Combs crew manage against the situation here on the Nightingale and the tense situation with the Romulans. In the meantime, however, I thank my my wonderful crew for engaging in this very interesting story and very interesting situation that we've put them in. But for now, to all those who tuned in to the stream, thank you very much for watching. Those of you who are watching this on YouTube later on, if you did enjoy this as much as we appeared to enjoy playing in it, then think of giving us a like down in the box below. It helps not only ourselves, but everybody who does actual plays and anything related to Star Trek. In the meantime, I would ask you all to do like the Vulcans do, which in this case is definitely help out your friends when they are in need of a bit of assistance, but to also live long and prosper, to engage in infinite diversity and infinite combinations, and we will speak to you when we speak to you next, hopefully next week. And if we don't see you then I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hailing frequencies will now close.